Welcome to Floating Leaf Tea Podcast. My name is Showen.
And my name is Noah.
Hi.
Hi, I'm your co-host.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a good host.
Oh, how would you know? We haven't really do this podcast yet.
Oh, true.
Yeah, so.
I'm going to reserve my judgment then.
That's right. Okay, so anyway, I know it's gonna be a pretty fun day because this morning we already had 4 different dongdings in our live Instagram session, and I am a big fan of dongding, and just so wonderful to drink 4 dongdings with a lot of people, and the energy from a lot of you guys out there on the Instagram and Facebook to join this event, it made me very happy. And so today right now, after 4 different dongdings, we are drinking Alishan dark roast oolong tea from our teacher, Mr. Zhan.
Sean already brewed the first cup of tea. It's really good.
So why did I pick this specific dark roast Alishan tea? The only reason is there are 2 reasons actually. The first reason is I feel like it. And then second reason is in this past week 2 customers came in, and you guys are so cute. 2 guys, 2 customers told me that they had a roasted tea. Oh, accidentally, both of the teas are from Mr. Zhan, by the way. And then they all, tell me that they haven't drank that tea yet because I told them to hold on to it for, 1 year, 2 years or something like that. And so none of them touched that tea at all. I found that thank you for listening to me, but it's seriously really sweet. Or maybe I should rephrase this. It's so sweet that you guys listening to me to this extent, would not drink the tea until the specific moment that I told you guys. Yeah.
I think mostly because even though we have that feeling, and sometimes I'm at the shop and I say, oh, we should hold on to this tea. Sometimes you'll drink it anyway.
Yeah. So some teas I actually asked Noah to hide it, and this is one of the teas.
Yeah, so here you go.
That I asked him to hide it. But when we said that we hold on to the teas to see how it opens up, and we will give you roughly a certain amount of time, they say 6 months or a year or 2 years, that kind of stuff. Please just put it into a consideration, and maybe, cause, I still encourage people to taste it from time to time to see its development, while at the same time, yes, there is a thing called do not disturb the tea energy. So there should be at least a container worth of that tea or a bag worth of that tea that you don't touch it up. I mean, you don't touch it. You don't keep opening it and keep taking it out, just let it stay there. And then there's a small quantity of tea that you take out on the side. And then maybe after 3 months, go in and taste it. After 2 months, go in and taste it, Yeah.
Because how you learn to discern for yourself.
To see when it's ready, it's actually you go in and taste it. Not just Sharon says it will be ready in a year, then it will be really ready in the exact 1 year point. It was my estimation, So just want to bring that out, and also find a very good excuse for me to drink this tea today, since Noah really hide it, Yeah. So this Alishan, when I first had it last year, it was almost a year ago. I think we bought it in November.
Yeah.
And it was roasted last year in November. So when we first had this tea, it was really heavily roasted. And it was a really bold, strong tea. And also to have a high mountain, this dark roast is very intriguing to me, because not a lot of high mountain oolongs got roasted this deep, this rich in a way. And so I decided to buy some. And then after we we brought the tea back. Maybe within a month, we had tea tastings of this tea, and together with other Mr. Zhan's tea, I remember, and I was a big fan of this tea. I think the physical sensation needed some development. But at that time, I was so obsessed with the tea broth. I felt that there was the first tea, and still so far the only tea that I felt when the tea broth reached inside of my mouth, it felt like tree roots, like wanted to spread to every single corner, every single place in my mouth. And I was so happy when that happened. And it happened almost every single time that we drank the tea back then. And then I decided to keep the tea aside. So right now when we bring it out, almost exactly after a year, that sensation disappear. But the physical sense-wise, I think it become deeper and more round. So we are having a second infusion of this tea. And the broth smell just reached so deep, you know. Whew, strong brew, this one. It's a big tea.
So oily.
So oily and so
thick.
So big.
Yeah.
And physical feeling is also very big.
Bold.
Yeah, very bold. Almost have a little bit dry fire. Yeah, so I think it will take even longer time for it to, because I feel the fire is a bit too aggressive right now. Actually makes me feel good and not good at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost too much aggression for my body. Yeah, but I can actually see how well it can, how big it's already going into, like immediately going to my feet, for example.
The speed
The
also
speed
is really fast.
Yeah. So I guess Mr. Zhan still once in a while drive a sport car.
You should tell that story. That's good.
Yeah, he loves to like use like, how do you call it, analogy?
Yeah.
Analogy to talk about teas sometimes. And so maybe a few years ago, we were at his shop. And then
It was this time. It was the time that we grabbed this tea.
Oh, really?
We were there because we were filming there.
Oh.
So we were in and out probably 5 or 6 times. And one of the times there was this guy who's the most
adorable.
Yeah, super fun to drink tea with him.
Tea customer from Mr. Zhan that we met in his shop. And he just have that sweet temperament too. You can see that, you can feel that. And after we drank a few teas, he took out a small container with a lot of excitement, and he said there was 4 roast charcoal roast only.
Yeah.
4 roast charcoal roast only from like at least 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years old.
Yeah, 10 years ago. And he said it's just the last bit of the tea, and he would like to try with everybody on the table that day because he just feel like the tea was so good. And of course, Mr. Zhan, as his assistant to brew the tea, and we all drank the tea, and the tea was so bold and so still after 10 years.
I couldn't believe it's been sitting around for 10 years.
So strong.
Yeah.
And Mr. Zhan took a sip and he just said, "Wow, and he just said, when I was younger, I guess I like to drive sport car." And then we all burst out laughing because the tea was so strong that it feels like if you use car experience, it will be like driving a sport car.
You almost feel like a muscle car when you hear the engine is so big.
Yeah. And then we burst out laughing. But later I just stopped for a moment and I thought about it. I said, wait a second, 10 years ago, you were like 60 years old? You were driving sport car when you were 60? What did you drive when you were 20? And he didn't say anything.
But what did he? He also said that now. So what are you driving now? He's like, oh, like a luxury.
Luxury.
It's sitting in the back of a luxury vehicle. Yeah. But this is a strong tea.
This is, and for me, it's just like very interesting to see a high mountain tea got roasted. It's not just the dark roast. I mean, you can dark roast any tea that you want. I mean, you just put a lot of fire. That's basically a dark roast tea. Is how he could see a foundation of a tea, and to know that this tea can be pushed this far. And that's why, if you notice, our website we don't have full roast dongding very very often, because he told me that full roast dongding require a specific quality of dongding, and it doesn't come around very often. So he will find very good quality dongdings, but not that kind of quality. So he was able to do 3 roast dongding way more often than 4 roast dongding, for example. You know,
I think every time we go in, we'll ask him. The last 2 times we've asked him, do you have the 4 roast dongding? And the 2 times he said no. But I have something else. And the last 2 times, it's been Alishan.
Yeah, it had been Alishan. So we have another Alishan. On the way. It had been 2 months on the way now, and hopefully it will arrive within a month. I think that's a tea that he said is even better than 4 roast dongding.
Yeah, there's that tea we got some of. We actually got 2 other Alishans from him too.
Yeah.
But that one is in the mix, and I'm really excited to drink that tea again.
Yeah. And maybe after they come in, for those of you who are listening outside, we have been having so much fun doing blind tastings. And if the package ever arrives,
knock on wood.
Okay, knock on the wood, please.
When the package arrives,
we can do a Alishan blind tasting.
That would be really fun.
Yeah.
I feel like the base of this tea is just so wide.
And maybe that's why in the beginning I have that roots, like tree roots that keep wanting to spread to more ever possible space in my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and even physically, I think it tried to go into all possible place of my body.
It goes both ways too. When you smell the scent, I feel it definitely more downwards, but
yeah, more downwards actually.
There's a stimulation in the kind of the temples also that reaches back.
Yeah, but right now the feeling of this tea, it feels so big, and I think the theme of this tea is reaching out. Reaching out and wide and deep. However, there is still like that dry fire, kind of a too fiery feeling in the tea. So I think it will benefit for a longer storage rather than just a year, to make to make it round and even more completion. If you look at a shape, then right now this tea is more, how do you call this?
A cylinder?
Or cylinder? 长方形.
Oh, a long rectangle?
Rectangle.
Like, is it 3-dimensional or
whatever? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so a cylinder. Could be a cylinder.
It's a 长方形. And then, hopefully with time, it will be still that long, but it will grow into a round shape.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And more dimension too.
Yeah.
So if the cylinder that you are talking about...
A cylinder is round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so maybe it's like a rectangular prism.
Yeah.
Like a rectangle that's long.
Yeah. And then later it will become still that long and become into a wider and longer round shape.
With a little bit more kind of nuance on the outside also.
Yes.
Not just, Another way I think about that sometimes is that a newly roasted tea the edges can be a little bit boxy.
Yeah.
Or the angles can be a little bit angular.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so anyway, I think the focus of this podcast, this specific episode, is not just to feel about this tea, even though this tea is extremely interesting. As I said, the first place that I brought out this tea is, I heard 2 really sweet customers that they are not touched, that they are not drink the tea because I say keep it for a year or 2. And, but if you guys know me long enough, my take on tea is nothing is very certain. You got to use practice to have a sense. So for me what is the sense? It's through practice you confirm and disconfirm some stuff. And so with tea wise, like when this tea is ready, I cannot give you like an exact date. I can't. I mean I can. October 8th of 2021.
I bet it'll taste really good at that time.
But within this time, when I say 1 year to 2, then so there's 1 year and there's 2 years and there's 3 years and there's 5. Then I think we as tea drinkers have to build that curiosity of like, so when is this tea ready and completely open? And a lot of times you might say, how would I know? I can't know. I'm not a tea expert.
The thing is, can I say something?
Yes, please.
If you can't know, then you're not going to know when it is open, just because I say it's open on that day.
Yeah.
Right.
True. But you guys, like a lot of us, not just you guys, me too, that you don't need to be an expert to taste out something though. Like for example, as simple as, is this cabbage cooked? Do you need to be sure, if you are a trained chef, then the texture control will be better. But the point of, will the cabbage be cooked in the next 2 minutes? You have a way to know. It might be overcooked. That's the problem. It might be undercooked. But throughout the taste, you taste it in 1 minute, in 2 minutes, in 3 minutes, and then you keep building that sense of, that sensibility of what it looked like. Maybe in the end, then you get to know that it's to the texture, and for sure it's cooked kind of a thing. It's something ready, open. We also all have experience. If you are a wine drinker, you all try that out too. I want to open this bottle of wine. I mean, not just open the cork, okay? Unplug the cork. You actually make the wine liquid feel more open. So that's why a lot of people decant the wine. How do you determine that bottle of wine is ready to drink? Like, did somebody tell you to use 25 minutes plus 25 seconds? Maybe. But I will bet most of the time, not. And somehow you are willing to decant a bottle of wine, taste it through time to time, just a sip, and you determine, oh, right now it's ready. Let's enjoy the bottle of wine. Do you know what? With tea, you can do that too.
Just slower.
Just slow. The time is like 2 years or something. And I think this way, you become more adventurous and more experimental and more trust your own taste to determine if something tastes right to you. And this is a capacity that you can do it on your own. And then you can do it also with some, tea drinker friends, that they will tell you, I think this will benefit from because that, something like that. Then you can learn from each other. So don't be afraid. So maybe the title is I don't know, hashtag no fear, or hashtag go nuts, hashtag have fun, hashtag go experiment, hashtag figure it out.
Does it have to be a hashtag?
I don't know. It's such a modern life. It's like everything's a hashtag. It's so interesting. Hashtag tea. So that's it. I don't mean to rant because this is my learning process, and I like to figure out, and then I like to confirm with my tasting capacity. I like to go back and I call it get a shot of inspiration from those teachers, and come back and try it out over and over again on my own, and then go back there and then get another shot and then come back.
Well, there's one thing that comes to my mind of a really simple way of that kind of testing and using your experience, even if you feel like you're not very confident with something, which is when we figure out what to pair with a tea. Because when we do like a tea pairing tasting kind of thing just for fun with some friends or whatever.
Oh yeah.
We'll just like have a piece of whatever, cookie, a croissant, or like beef bolognese, I don't know. But whatever it is, it's just a piece of this food.
Yeah.
So we can try it and then have a sip of tea.
Yeah.
And then we might have an intuition of, da hong pao is going to go really well with beef stroganoff for some reason.
Yeah.
And
you just try it out.
Yeah, and you got to try it because it's good chance it's going to be completely wrong, but also there's a chance it's going to be good. So, we'll like have like brew 3 or 4 or 5 different teas on the table, depending on how soon we get it right, or what we like about each one. Because sometimes you'll taste it, and I have no experience doing this. We didn't train to do this at all,
Yeah.
But taste a little bit of a light oolong with something really heavy, and you realize, I like the way that the light oolong kind of the aftertaste shows up after you finish the bite of food.
Yeah.
Or you're like, I really like how the notes in the dark oolong pair with the heavy food.
Or something like that.
And whatever it is.
Your senses will tell you that something is right and something is wrong. And since he mentioned that, one time a customer came in and he said he's going to have a dinner party, and then there will be some, like, I guess it's peach season then, and he want to use some peach in his food, that including like, like not roast, like how do you guys call it? Like you put it on barbecue.
Oh yeah. Roasted, I guess. Okay,
roasted, whatever. Peach.
Oh, charred? Is that what it's called? I don't know.
I'm really bad at cooking. So, and then he just come in and say, I think it would be fun to offer people some tea with that. And somehow my intuition told him to do da hong pao. And I just said, maybe try da hong pao. It's just my intuition. Maybe it'll go very well. And somehow, within about 2 weeks, I have peach here in the shop. And I was like, I'm going to brew some da hong pao to go with it. And it was terrible. And I feel so bad because I don't have the contact info of this specific customer. So I just I hope the dinner party went really well. I'm sorry. So you see, you can try out stuff. Yeah, but maybe my lesson is don't give people random suggestions of what will pair with what. Before I try it out myself.
Da hong pao so far doesn't really pair with a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, maybe try. I don't know. So anyway, I think that's it before I go on ranting more. And I think the next episode, we are actually going to drink the same tea, but store in a container.
Sounds good to me.
To talk about storage and the differences in storage and etc. etc. So I hope you guys have fun out there, trying out your teas and be open to it and want to like do different ways to brew tea and etc. etc. And remember, have fun with it, and also remember, struggling is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes in learning. So that's it. Happy tea drinking or struggling tea drinking. Thank you for tuning in. To direct help us to make this program going is to listen and tell your friends to listen. And
tell your family to listen.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell your mama to listen. Tell your friend's mama to listen.
And the most direct way to support this program is actually buy our tea on our website, floatingleaf.com. We'll see you next Monday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.